Hello everybody, we are excited to be with you today. If you are a parent looking for strategies for your child to help them feel more grounded, connected, more calm, more centered in their body, I have just the guest for you today. I'm very excited to have Kathy Flaminio. She is the owner of 1000 Petals here locally in St. Paul in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, and she teaches mindfulness and movement to schools and to therapeutic settings, even juvenile detention centers, so sometimes the kids that aren't always looking to behave and connect with themselves. She's also the National Director of Training at Yoga Calm, so she is phenomenal at what she does. I'm so excited to be sharing with you today, Kathy. Yeah, so tell us, maybe just give us a little bit of an overview about yourself and some of your expertise.
Yeah. So I kind of came into this work. I was in Minneapolis Public Schools for 20 years as a social worker and also in the fitness and wellness industry. Started integrating some of these movements and mindfulness practices after I realized I was kind of doing work from the chin up, whereas stress and trauma, as we know, resides in the nervous system, chin down. So we started working and saw some really remarkable changes in kids. And I think right now, more than ever, it's like we gotta help ourselves and our children really understand how this nervous system is amazing, but we don't always have to be in this kind of fight, flight, freeze mode, that there's a way to go 0 to 60 and there's a way to go 60 to 0.
Go back the other way.
And it's practice, and that's why we call them practices, because we have to practice them, daily.
Yes, definitely.
And when we're not in crisis, and that's where we found success, is when we started working with parents on.
That's, I think, for myself, I'm always working on things to recenter myself on a regular basis, because especially with nowadays the stress and the technology and the go that we have in our society, our nervous systems are usually moving, not settling down. We're
so overly stimulated, and just to be able to ground ourselves is so important.
Absolutely. So what do you think, if you were to talk about how to a strategy a mom could use at home, or a dad, to connect with their child, to help them connect with their body? Because as you said, so much is in the body. That's what we work with in our office, is more than what's going on in their brain, but what is their body actually telling their brain? So what is something a parent could do?
And I have toys. I just have to show the toys, because here's the thing. When we as adults are breathing like this, or our kids are breathing like this, we feed off each other. So one of the first strategies I always say to parents, and I'm a parent too, so it's like an everyday practice, is we need to get ourselves grounded, like we're it. Yikes. Like we're the intervention. So if we want our kids to get grounded, the greatest thing is our own self-care is going to be a strategy for them. So us learning about our breath. So just knowing that, remembering that this is a healthy breath, there's an inhale, pause, and there's an exhale, pause. And you don't just have to breathe like this when you're sleeping. I thought, this is my life, and then I would sleep. But I realized, with daily, just simple daily practices of breathing, like this,
Even just watching you do that,
I know.
I start to breathe.
It is. Slowly. It's kind of mesmerizing. But if I slow my breathing pattern and really remember to stop talking. Because when when our kids are in a state of stress, when we're in a state of stress and someone's talking to you, you're like, just get out of my, I need to calm. So we zip it and realize that our brains and our bodies react to breath work, movement, music, art. So even having lights down low, having music on, those little things, it's just like I work in the classrooms, you can do in your home environment. Setting it up so when kids enter, they're in a kind of a calm space. Also, just movements where you're getting your head below your heart. So a forward bend is, we've got a curve in our cervical, this is, chiropractic cervical and lumbar spine, and when those curve like this, or a forward fold, or even if you put your legs up the wall where your legs are up and your head is down, that's going to calm the nervous system.
So would that be something for a kid after school, if they get home from that busy day, that they could do that before they turn on the TV or do homework or have their snack or whatever they do?
And one of our therapists, friend of mine, he one of the strategies he gave to parents, because kids would come home and it's what did you do? And then they don't answer a question depending on whatever. So the parent would just be legs up the wall, breathing, and lo and behold, the kid would come over, legs up the wall, and now it's better to talk to kids this way than this way.
Oh, okay.
And they just started to have this conversation.
Nice.
And here's the thing. You've got an inversion going on. Your legs are up the wall, so you're getting the physiological response, which we want, and you're getting the emotional connection.
The connection and just the proximity to
yes.
each other, I bet.
And you can be close without talking. I mean,
okay.
so that, and even if you didn't talk and you just started to breathe together, there's something so profound by just breathing. Or sometimes I always say this is good marital therapy. You would sit back to back with your spouse or partner or child and just breathe.
Okay.
No talking.
Okay.
You're not looking at each other. We're not talking about our day. We're just getting grounded.
Right.
And you notice the things that I'm telling you are, they're on the ground.
Yeah, good
like
point.
your body is on the ground.
Okay. So I think that's probably maybe to kind of sum up what we've talked about so far is you as the parent have so much power and so much, there's mirror neurons in the front of the brain that when we see someone else doing something, we automatically want to mirror them and do what they're doing. So if you as the parent are slowing yourself down and you have some visuals maybe that the child can watch, getting your head below the rest of your body by putting your legs up the wall. And I love the example of the dad doing that after school. Yeah. And having the kid join him.
Yeah. So that regulation piece is really important.
Okay. What else would you say? Are there other frequently like parents asking you like, oh, what about this situation or this situation?
I have a lot
what
of
are some common questions?
So I mean, I think the
you?
tantruming, the kind of explosive behavior. So we have different behaviors. We have kids that are more low energy and you just can't get up and are more depressed like. So basically what I say is we got to meet the body where it's at. Yep. So if someone is low energy and just like I can't get out of bed or slow, you move the body. It's like sunrise to sunset. You meet the body maybe in like I have these kind of posters that show like this would be like a standing forward bend. Or a head on desk. You see that's more low energy, but you're getting the body kind of meeting where it's at and grounding. Then if you have explosive, like kind of big energy, I think that one's almost harder. Then unfortunately, or fortunately, you got to meet that with big energy. So I mean, we do some breathing, like bringing your arms up, 1, 2, 3, and we just release the body. We let the body get that push or that fight out. And then after you've done that, then here comes that beautiful forward bend again, where the head goes below the heart and you calm. But I think where we run into some trouble is that we want all kids to be calm. We want to calm our kids. And I think kids need more releasing than calm. Because they can't get to calm if they're agitated. But if you meet someone where they're at, we do this academically. If you meet their physiology and just go with the arousal curve of their physiology, it's like it's kind of incredible.
My wife talks about it if she's having a stressful day, and I go straight into problem solving. It doesn't work very well. But if I connect and say, "Hey, what's going on? It looks like you had a tough day." I've met what she's feeling, and then she can express the toughness of the day. And then if she wants to problem solve, we can go into problem solving. But if you skip over that part, I think that's so important.
And there's so much you can do with the body. So the movement that I teach, or it's kind of yoga-based movement. It takes your body in 6 directions. So the spine goes in 6 directions. So forward bending are going to be calming, soothing. You alter hormone levels, so it's great for teenagers. Sometimes I'm like, just put them upside down. And they like to go upside down. We have a lot of kids that go upside down. They hang upside down on couches, which actually you could just say, let's hang upside down and do some breathing. They actually are trying to get their body regulated.
Interesting.
Back bends, which we want to do in the morning, that stretch, that's going to wake up the body. That's going to get the body more alerted. Then these side bends, kind of side stretching is going to open up the rib cage so the body can breathe. And then twists, like simple twists, are energizing and kind of detoxifying. So it kind of goes along with a lot of your work. But you can kind of, we teach about how to kind of move the body in these directions, meeting them where they're at. If they're high energy, meet high energy, bring it down. If they're low energy, meet low energy, and then move into maybe some back bends.
Wonderful. And I think that makes so much sense. Of if someone's stressed out, a lot of times they're curling in, and they feel that stress in their body. Or if you're tired, you're depressed, you're down, what are you going to do? You're going to go this way, right?
Yes.
So if you open yourself up, you're naturally activating the body to activate the brain, and that they work hand in hand.
Yeah, we do. So I talk a lot about working with how the brain takes in information. So the brain, we say like activate, educate, integrate, which means the brain is taking information from the back of the brain through your sensories, going to the frontal lobe. And what happens when kids get upset and stuff is we're doing front brain to back.
Right, okay.
And guess what? We can't get to the front brain unless the back of your brain, which means your nervous system, is calm. When it's calm, you're able to get upstairs to reasoning, what happened, let's talk about this. So I think the bottom line is zip it, less talking and more working with the body.
Yeah, slowing the body down first if you're going to integrate, get behind the reason for the tough day. As a parent, too, sometimes going straight to the logic is not a good scenario. I know my wife talks about that a lot with parent coaching.
It is. So that's been fun, and I really realized like we can't leave this beautiful body of ours. It knows it's trying to get regulated, but it looks like not. What's the word? It just doesn't look functional, but it really is.
Right.
So kids that scream and kick and run, they're trying to get that fight out. That there's a fight, flight, and freeze. And once they can get that out, we can calm. But if we don't let the fight get out, then we get exhausted as parents. But how do you get the fight out without hurting people, hurting yourself or objects? So we want to use the body to get that out.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's so great to meet them where they're at. And like you're saying, Kathy, is the body's so smart, it's doing something for a reason. So if it has all that turmoil and that tension, that anger, whatever's inside, and you just ignore it and tell the child to calm down, it's still going to be in there. And if it hasn't gotten out, they're not going to be able to resolve things. And I know with some of the things you have, so you have the breathing ball, and the nice thing I appreciate about 1,000 Petals is you have great tools
we have to have
and
toys
things that
to make it
families
fun.
can use. So the posters you mentioned, the cool thing with the posters is they have some poses, but they also, there's different categories. So like this one, I don't know how it shows up on there, but it says use when you're anxious or stressed. And then there is another one probably for activation. There's
so like this has that wood chopper when you're angry or upset.
So here's an example of some poses you can do if your child is in that high energy state, what they can do to move their body to get it out and keep it moving through. Can you show the card deck too? I think that's really powerful.
So I developed this. This is just a little card deck that has different movements on them. And what I love about this, so kids can just have these card decks in their room. Sometimes in schools we wear them. But the gold nugget at the back, the cool thing, so this is downward dog. This is an inversion where you get that lower back and it just slows the body down. It's also a big movement. It kind of gets out some of that fight because you have to really push into the earth. So this is a great movement. And if you have a high energy kid, like a really high energy or low energy actually, and you could put this movement, they go into this movement. The low energy child is going to come up. The high energy child is going to come down. With just a few of these movements. However, when you string things together and do some movements together, then you get a different effect. So at the back of the deck, it says sequencing for effects. So let's say we need sequencing for calming, it will say what are some, or sequencing for managing anxiety. So I've kind of taken out the mystery of how to kind of put things together in a logical way that moves into this calm, active, like the arousal cycle that moves from calm to active calm. Or keeping hands to self, or like helping with anger. I mean, all these emotions are just emotions coming through. It's just what our bodies do. Our bodies are brilliant, so there's no shame in that. But then how to work through that.
And what I like about that is this is like your superpower cheat sheet. You don't have to be an expert and take hours and hours and weeks of training on Yoga Calm to know what to do for your child, but you can just flip through the cheat sheet and say, oh, I need some anxiety help, and it's going to tell you how to direct your child.
And kids, it's so funny, they might not I'm not doing this, and then It's in their room, and we've seen, like, they line up the cards. Younger ones are putting their stuffed animals and their dolls in these movements, and they're doing this. Like, you know, we have a sequence for sleep. We have a sleep routine. So legs up the wall is that one I was saying on the way home. I mean, when kids get home. So it does take the mystery out of it and helps organize it in a fun way.
And I think if it's simple enough, it's going to give your child control too, which is so huge for a lot of kids that we see. They know something's going on inside their body, but they don't quite have the tools to do something about it. So the other side note too, I just want to mention with the cards, there's such a strong visual. And of all, whether you're a child or an adult, we all have strong learning styles, whether it's visual or auditory or kinesthetic, and about 70% of people are actually visual is how they best process things. So a lot of times we'll see parents maybe getting in trouble because we have a family in particular where they're auditory, so they're really good at telling their kid what to do, but their kid is so highly visual, unless he sees a picture or he sees his parents doing it, he won't do it. So that's what I love about a tool like this, is it's going to cover 70% of the kids in that visual way.
And
so strong.
I love it because we're not talking. I just think that it's too much sometimes, you know, to just have this, and parents can do this. I mean, we say the same thing. Teachers half the time are like, I'm just doing this for myself. And parents too. It's like, okay, I need this card deck right now for, you know, whatever. So that has been helpful.
Wonderful.
Just to do for yourself.
And I'll put a link in the video here to the Thousand Petals website where these products are. I personally myself don't have any affiliation there, but I love Kathy so much. And the products, I know parents that have used them with such great success, so that's why I want to be able to provide that as a resource for you guys out there. Anything as we wrap up then, Kathy, any like final notes, or as we look at maybe the world today and the stress that kids are under, how important this work is? Anything you want to say for parting thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is just that with all this external turmoil going on, I mean, the greatest thing about this work is that peace is not in a place of like sitting on your pillow, finding this peaceful place. It's finding it inside in a chaotic world. And what we know is that we can do this with our nervous system. So some quieting time during the day. There are actually some great mindfulness apps that I've gotten like my teenage daughter to try. Kids need ways to release. They need to know different places to release. They need to be able to self-regulate, not having a parent no matter. They need to know that. And what the greatest thing about the body is the body remembers. Good or bad. So if we can show the body like some rocking on the floor and then squeezing in, and the body and the child will remember, and then you're able to get back to it.
Yeah, I think that's the most powerful piece, is giving your child that experience of something to slow themselves down. They feel that in their body. They feel that contentment and that difference, so they're going to naturally be drawn toward doing it again. And maybe they modify it a little, but they know they're building their own repertoire of tools to use. And I think that's so powerful as a parent. One of the most powerful things you can do is give your children those tools to handle themselves in those situations.
And us too. And I think, you know, back to this ball, like it could literally be, you know, people say it's a breath away, but it could. I mean, you put your feet on the floor and you just take a breath.
And there I go again, calming right down.
And you get a buffer to the world. It's like you get a buffer, like here I am and here's what's going on, and I get to learn how to respond. That I don't have to be constantly in it. I can step back, and in that stepping back, I get more blood flow to the front of the brain, so I can think.
Yeah.
So.
And know as a parent too that you're not alone in this. There's so many families right now with our fast-paced society, like we said, they're dealing with these challenges. So we're here to support you guys. We're here to help. If you have any questions, definitely reach out. Definitely check out Kathy's site. And thanks so much for your time today, Kathy.
All right.
Glad we got to chat together. And I'll talk to you guys later.
See you later.